Hi there, my name is Dina Falconi. I'm an herbalist, educator, the author of Foraging and Feasting and Earthly Bodies and Heavenly Hair. And what's happening in the kitchen this very moment? It is making nettle infusion. Yep, so we're going to get into how you make a potent nettle infusion, basically a strong, steeped medicinal grade tea of nettle in leaf. So it's the leaf stage of nettle that you want. And let's just talk about this for a moment. This is Urtica, Dioica of the Urticaceae family. And its medicine moment in terms of leaf is, I would say, when it's about knee height, but before flower. So that's when you're going to harvest the nettle. But now, here it is, dehydrated, fully dried, and stored. This was harvested last growing season. Why do you want to learn to make potent nettle infusion, stinging nettle infusion? What's amazing about the gift that nettle offers us? Well, this is where food and medicine really meet. We have a super nutrient-dense leafy green that we can turn into a beverage that we drink that's quite food-like, that gives us deep nourishment, high in calcium, iron, magnesium, full of beta-carotene and so on, and quite high for actually a leafy green, high in protein for a leafy green. So nettle has this gift of being so nutritious, so full of good stuff that builds blood, that gives us vigor through nourishing us deeply, but it also has lots of chemicals that are therapeutic, that have different actions. This is considered a warming circulatory herb. So nettle brings on fire in the body. It heats us up. It moves blood. It's also really good for stagnant situations like arthritic situations. It opens the kidneys. It's a diuretic. It supports the adrenals. It is used in formulas for skin health, for hair health, for nail health, for bone health. So there's so many ways that that nettle is used therapeutically. There is something that you should know, that nettle is contraindicated though for folks who have a lot of heat inside, who might run hot, who are quote pitta. So you might reduce the intake of nettle for those kinds of constitutions. You might not use it as often, or you may not use it at all. So hope that makes sense. If you are dealing with gastric inflammation and things like that, perhaps nettle is not appropriate. If you bleed easily, sometimes nettle can exacerbate that. So there's lots of other things to say. I always put these contraindications in there just so you know that there is much more to the plant than I'm just sharing at this very moment. Okay, so let's go on to making it. So how do you make? So like I work with clients, I work with folks, and we talk about make yourself a potent, how do you make a medicinal grade tea, and this is what we're calling infusion. And I'm going to ask the client or the student to take a quart mason jar. This is a quart size, and to use one handful, large handful of dried plant material and put it into that mason jar. That one handful of dried plant material is about a half an ounce of nettle. If I want to up the medicinal, you can go a little bit higher. And so what's in the jar right here, I should say, is three quarters of an ounce. So that's what it looks like of cut nettle leaf, 3/4 of an ounce. You could actually go up to a full ounce, and you could weigh these. So I'll leave you with this thought, that 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce of dried plant material per quart of boiling water is the ratio that gives you a pretty strong herbal infusion. So now we need to boil our water, and we are boiling it over here. And it is not quite boiling yet, so let's give it another moment. I'm also going to put in something like this spoon to prevent the heat of the boiling water from cracking this glass. So this tempers it, it moderates the heat, and when we pour it, we're going to pour it slowly. Okay, so just to recap, we are creating a medicinal grade stinging nettle infusion. We are boiling a quart of water that's going to be poured over this 3/4 of an ounce of dried nettle leaf. Okay, I hear the water boiling. Here we go. Nope, it's not quite there yet. It's ready. Water is boiling. We take it off the fire. We bring it over to our mason jar, and we're going to pour slowly. Let's pull out our metal implement right there. There we go, and just top this off a hair more. And now we want a tight fitting cap, and we cap our jar and we let it steep. So we let this steep for at least an hour. We're going to let that steep. And sometimes up to 8 hours. So really, I suggest that you let it steep at least 4 hours, but for some folks who want to just get going and drinking, you can drink it after an hour. Once it's set out here for about 8 hours, it can start to ferment. So that means at that point, it definitely needs to be stored in the fridge, because otherwise your nettle will get funky. And then you can drink 1 to 3 cups a day. So you would strain the leaf out, obviously drink the liquid, and you would drink 1 to 3 cups a day. You can drink it hot, warm, or cold. If you drink it cold, it's going to act more as a diuretic and increase pissing. You can also mix this with other herbs if you like. You can add mint. This flavor, this nettle flavor, is really a kind of a green, meaty green, chlorophyll-rich, very lovely in my mind. But you can also, you know, play with it if you want to. Excuse me, make it more warming. You could add a little ginger root. If you want to make it a little bit more soothing, add some marshmallow root. So, you know, you can customize it. But this is a nettle infusion, simple, and you're going to let it steep. And what else to say about it? If you were to gather your own nettle, it would start to happen here in the Northeast around May, and then you would continue, actually, you could gather it throughout its growth cycle until it starts to flower, at which point you would not gather it for infusions. It has other functions, that's for another lesson. So really, nettle is an amazing plant that has so many gifts. It can be food, it can be medicine, we can use the roots, the seeds, we can use the leaves as a vegetable. There's a lot to say, but really I just want to give you all a sense of how to make a potent nettle infusion. So that's today's lesson. And if you've enjoyed this and you'd like more, check out my online course, Wild Food Health Boosters and Herbal Remedies, at wildfoodhealthboosters.com. See you next time.